Back with another video. It's been a little while. A lot has happened. Biden stepped down as far as running for presidency next term, and Kamala Harris is in there. So we got a lot of stuff going on. I wish I could go 100 years into the future and see what they're going to call this part of American history. Because there is, just with this decade alone, we're not even going to start at 9/11. Just from this decade alone, there's been so much going on. COVID kicked it off. Here we are with this presidency. You had the January 6th thing going on. You have the economy. There's so much going on. I am so curious to know what they're going to call this part of American history. It takes them a few decades to get that together. Like, I'm pretty sure in the 20s they weren't calling it the Roaring 20s. At least I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm curious about that. But anyway, got the Olympics going on, which I haven't watched anything yet. I did watch the opening ceremony, which I wasn't really... I didn't like the boat thing. Like, I liked it better when they're in a stadium. We can actually see their outfits, them waving their flags. We can see the theme they got going on. But with the boats, it's like some boats you had 2 or 3 countries in there. It was raining, so they had to have on ponchos. I just didn't care for that. I know they were trying to do something a little different and what have, but maybe in 2028 they can go back to the stadium. That's what I like. I don't know how the majority of the public feels, but I prefer the stadium. But yeah, I will be watching. I think they've already shown some gymnastics and not track and field, but gymnastics, some swimming. I got to get caught up on that. But anyway, I'm here to bring my latest review on Five Nights at Freddy's, which came out in 23. So I was watching this. I was clicking through, I think, Prime, just seeing what's on there. And I was like, okay, because, Prime, some movies, you have to rent or buy for a long time, and then it's free. So it's finally free on Prime. And I was watching it. And as it was going on, the main character, I was like, I recognize him, but I couldn't put a finger on. I said, I think the last time I saw him in something, he was a little boy. And so then when I was thinking about it, I realized he was in, he was in the Bridge to Tabitha. I think that's how you say it. Based off of a children's novel or young adult novel, middle schoolish age. That was a great movie. He did good in that. He was like 14, 15 when he was in it. It was kind of sad, but go ahead, check that out if you want to see that. So he's back in this. Not sure if he played anything else after that. I'm just saying, I think that was the last time I saw him in something. So he plays this guy who's having a hard time keeping jobs. He has custody of his little sister, and he lands this job at this lockdown old, like, I want to call it Chuck E. Cheese knockoff, right? You know how Chuck E. Cheese has a mechanical, at least they used to. I think the last time I was at Chuck E. Cheese, they don't have them anymore, like when you have kid parties. But anyway, so he's a security guard. Just even though it's closed down, he's there to make sure nobody breaks in and all that stuff. Because, I mean, you do have vandals breaking into abandoned buildings. So the guy that set him up with the job, again, I was having a case of deja vu. And I was like, he looks familiar. I said, I think that's that guy from Scream. The first one. He was the one that was kind of funny, Stu. And Scream, so he was in this as well. I guess he's you have some actors and actresses that just thrive in horror settings, like that elderly woman. She was in all the God, it's the horror movie. It's like a franchise. It's on the tip of my tongue. I think it starts with an I. Insidious. She was in all of those. She was also in, like, when she was younger, some other horror stuff. Like, some people just thrive in that. Tony, I forgot his last name, but the black guy, you want to play Candyman, he's been in a bunch of horror stuff. So anyway, so yeah, this guy from Scream, he plays the guy that gets him with the job. So this guy, the main character, he's having pretty much like PTSD because he witnessed his brother getting kidnapped while him and his family were out at the park. So prior to watching this, I didn't know what the story was going to be. I thought maybe the Freddy's characters were just like malfunctioned and turned evil. I didn't know that they were actually possessed by ghosts, by spirits, restless spirits. And I like the story I guess you want to call it the subplot maybe, of the main character trying to figure out who took his little brother, because, his little brother got killed after he was kidnapped. And every night he dreams and he tries to find answers in his dreams. And while working at this place, his dreams get more vivid, right? Then we have this security guard, female security guard that's there. I watch enough horror movies to know her role was important. I said, she's not just going to play like a little love interest to him. I knew it was something else deeper going on. And then that's when we find out, spoiler alert, that she is the killer's daughter. And guess who the killer is? Homeboy from Scream. Which I had a feeling he was, when he set him up with the job, I'm like, he has something to do with something, Now, I don't know if you want to call this a plot twist, but his daughter, when he basically grilled her enough and she told him that she's the daughter of the killer, did he find out? I forgot how he found out, but basically the killer put the bodies of the deceased children in those mechanical things, which I said that was a very nice twist, because I just thought maybe their ghosts were just inhabited in these little animatronic things, not that their actual skeletons were in there and the killer had possession of their souls. It was kind of deep. Like, the plot was deeper than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a guy who ran up on these, animatronic things, and they malfunction and are evil. To have that deep backstory of his little brother getting kidnapped and him trying to find out who did it, he was obsessed with it. Even though he had custody of his little sister, he was kind of distant from her because his mind was still stuck on his little brother, right? Which is understandable. And I'm pretty sure he probably felt responsible in a way, because he actually saw his little brother in the back seat of the car of the guy as he was driving. He was running after trying to get it. And sometimes I feel like children do blame themselves for things like that, even though it's beyond your control. So yeah. Like I said on my thumbnail, it has just the right amount of creepiness. It wasn't overdone. Sometimes I think for a while with horror movies, I would say definitely last decade, I think people relied on just gore and not storytelling and creepiness. They just relied on like jump scares and gore. But what I mean by jump scares, if you don't know, which I'm pretty sure you do, but if you don't, that's like somebody walks around a corner, you have this suspenseful music, and then they're like, and it's, a kitten or something like that. So I'm glad we're doing a little bit more storytelling along with some gore, but let's not rely on just blood and guts and that's it, unless it's a slasher film. And I don't think we're in a slasher film era right now. I think we're more into the creepy psychological era, which is cool with me. Everybody has their own things. I'm not going to sit here and talk down on gore, because the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one that came out in the 70s, that was like the best one. It was just authentically scary, But again, in the 70s, that was a slasher era. So you're going to see better slasher films from that era, from that decade versus now. And so, like I said, I think now we're getting more into the storytelling, the psychological field of it, which is cool. A lot of people think, and this is something that both horror and I feel highly sexual movies have in common. People think because of the subject matter, it's easy to produce, it's easy to write, and it's not. It's actually harder. It's harder to do that horror and really sexually stuff without it being cheesy. It's a very thin line between cornball-ish and a good solid horror film. Alright. But anyways, I'm going to get on out of here and watch some more stuff. Shout out to my subscribers. Peace and blessings as always. And I will catch you all next time. Alright. Peace.